Hello, everyone. Welcome to Life Wisdom, a place where we share stories, lessons, and perspectives to help you live a calmer, more meaningful life. Let's take a moment to reflect and enjoy today's message together. Don't compare yourself to others. In modern life, people often fall into an invisible trap called comparison. From the moment we open our eyes in the morning until we close them at night, we unconsciously measure ourselves against others. These people might be friends, colleagues, family members, or even strangers we only know through social media. When comparison becomes a habit, it can easily diminish our sense of self-worth, creating feelings of insecurity, anxiety, and self-doubt, sometimes even leading to stress and depression. From a young age, many of us have been shaped by phrases such as, "You must study as well as your friend," "Why aren't you as good as your brother or sister?" Or, "Look at them, why aren't you working as hard?" Although these words often come from love or care, they unintentionally plant seeds of comparison in a child's mind. As we grow, these seeds sprout into a habit, causing us to constantly question ourselves whenever we see someone else succeed. Am I as good as them? Am I talented like them? Comparison becomes even more subtle in the era of social media. Platforms like Facebook, Instagram, or TikTok only show us the perfect parts of life that people choose to share. Beautifully arranged meals, luxurious vacations, praise from a boss, or happy moments with friends and family. Rarely do we see failures, moments of weakness, or the tears that people shed in private. By only witnessing the surface, it's easy to feel that everyone else is living better, happier, and more successfully than we are. Continuous comparison creates a vicious cycle. The more you look at others, the more inadequate you feel. The more inadequate you feel, the more you try to catch up. And the more you try, the more exhausted and pressured you become. For example, Lan, a marketing professional, often saw her colleagues showcase their achievements. At first, she felt happy for them, but gradually she began comparing herself. Why haven't I received praise? Why don't I have a major project like theirs? As a result, Lan lost confidence, felt stressed, and hesitated to propose new ideas for fear of failure being judged in comparison to others. However, Lan discovered a different approach. Instead of comparing herself to others, she began focusing on her own progress. She recorded small achievements, improved step by step, and realized that everyone has their own pace of growth. By concentrating on her personal development, Lan felt more confident, lighter, and more joyful in her daily work. It is important to remember that every person is unique. We are all born into different circumstances, with different abilities, experiences, and opportunities. Comparing yourself to others is like comparing apples to oranges. Each has its own value and cannot be measured by the same standard. Once we realize this, pressure diminishes and we can view ourselves more objectively. Instead of comparing, focus on self-development. Look back at what you have achieved, the challenges you have overcome, and the lessons you have learned. You may not have reached the same level as others, but you have grown compared to yourself. By focusing on personal progress, each day feels valuable and you can feel satisfied with your own journey. Another approach is to compare positively. Instead of feeling envy or self-doubt, see others as sources of inspiration. When you notice someone's success, ask yourself, how did they achieve that? What can I learn from them? This transforms the feeling of comparison into motivation rather than pressure. It also broadens your perspective, allowing you to acquire skills and observe others' success with calmness and positivity. Recognizing your own value is crucial. You may not excel in one area, but you could be outstanding in another. Knowing and developing your strengths boosts confidence and reduces the temptation to follow others' standards. This helps you define personal goals and paths that align with your abilities, interests, and circumstances. Alongside awareness, self-acceptance is key. Nobody is perfect, and acknowledging your limitations is not a weakness, but an opportunity for growth. By embracing both your strengths and weaknesses, you free yourself from the mental burden of comparison. Instead, you focus on improving weaknesses and cultivating strengths. Practical action is essential. Set clear personal goals and break them into small steps. Having a plan reduces the pull of external comparisons. You feel confident knowing you are moving in the right direction, even if your pace is slower than others. Every small progress you make is a victory in itself, and these victories accumulate over time. Another important factor is limiting social media exposure or selectively consuming content. Not everything online reflects reality. Choose positive, inspiring content and avoid pages that only showcase perfect lives to maintain your mental peace. Understanding that social media often displays curated, edited highlights rather than the full picture can protect you from unnecessary comparisons. To practice this mindset consistently, try these exercises. Keep a personal progress journal. Each day, write down 3 things you did well. Use positive self talk. When tempted to compare, remind yourself silently everyone has their own pace. I am on my own path. Learn instead of envy. When seeing someone succeed, ask, what can I learn from them? Set personal goals. Focus on what you want to achieve, not on what others are doing. Practice gratitude. Write down things you are grateful for daily, helping your mind focus on positive values rather than a sense of lack. A real life example. Nam, a recent graduate, noticed a classmate had a good job and a high salary. At first, he felt insecure and disappointed by comparing himself to them. Instead of dwelling on this, Nam planned his own growth, learning new skills, applying for internships, and expanding his professional network. After a year, Nam secured a suitable job and felt confident, realizing that his self-worth does not depend on others' achievements. Learning not to compare also improves relationships. When you are not envious or jealous, you become more open and genuinely happy for others' successes. This creates a positive environment where people encourage each other rather than compete negatively. Confidence and inner peace come not from proving you are better than others, but from understanding and appreciating yourself, recognizing your unique value, and acting according to your personal goals. Each day is a chance to become a better version of yourself, to learn, love, and create your own value. In addition to exercises and practical steps, observe and recognize your emotions. When feeling envy, self-doubt, or comparison, pause and ask, why do I feel this way? Does this emotion help me improve? This helps create distance between emotion and action, reducing the likelihood of negative behavior. Long-term practice may include meditation or mindful breathing, which helps you appreciate the present moment instead of chasing what others have. Focusing on the present and your own progress keeps you out of the spiral of comparison and allows you to experience life more fully and clearly. It is important to note that comparison is not always harmful if navigated correctly. It can highlight areas for improvement, help you learn from others, and create positive motivation. The problem arises when comparison leads to self-deprecation or envy, becoming a psychological toxin. Finally, always remind yourself that your value does not depend on other people's achievements or lifestyles. Every day is an opportunity to become a better version of yourself, to learn, love, and create your own value. Life becomes meaningful, not because you are better or worse than someone else, but because you are progressing every day at your own pace, embracing your journey, and valuing the unique person you are. By living in this way, you can break free from the cycle of comparison, develop resilience, and cultivate inner peace. You will feel lighter, happier, and more confident. Happiness comes not from surpassing others, but from honoring your journey, learning from experiences, and appreciating the small victories each day brings. Thank you for listening. If you found this video helpful, please like, subscribe, and share to spread positivity. See you in the next video on Life Wisdom.